Morning and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Gargi Raut. Our top story, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is at the White House for a private dinner hosted by U.S. President Barack Obama. The president, in fact, greeted the Prime Minister at the door of the White House. In Gujarati, he said, "Kem cho, Mr. Prime Minister." Also at the dinner are Vice President Biden, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, National Security Advisor Susan Rice, and USAID Chief. Now, the Prime Minister is accompanied by External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, NSA Doval, Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh and Ambassador Jay Shankar. Earlier, Deputy Secretary of State Bill Burns received the Prime Minister at the Andrews Air Force Base, where many Indians had also gathered to greet the Prime Minister. Now, earlier in New York, speaking at the Council of Foreign Relations, the Prime Minister said that all terrorism in India is exported and not homegrown. He said the recent beheading incidents by ISIS were unimaginable and said that India has suffered for 40 years. Terrorism has no borders.
नेक्स्ट 24/7 पावर सप्लाई कर। जहां तक भारत का सवाल है, भारत में किसी भी संप्रदाय व्यक्ति क्यों न हो, लेकिन एक मूल फिलॉसफी से वो ड्राइव करता है और भारत की फिलॉसफी का प्रतीक है भगवान बुद्ध, महात्मा गांधी। जहां अहिंसा, ये हमारे लोगों के स्वभाव में है। आपने देखा होगा कि इतनी टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी हमारे देश में चली है, टेररिज्म के कारण हम परेशान हैं, लेकिन सारे टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी हमारे यहां एक्सपोर्टेड है। किसी ने हमारे यहां एक्सपोर्ट किया है, होम ग्रोन नहीं है। और इसलिए हिंदुस्तान का जो मुसलमान है, उसके विषय में मुझे कभी एक बार CNN ने पूछा था कि अलकायदा का ये चल रहा है तो आपको क्या होगा। मैंने कहा हिंदुस्तान का मुसलमान अलकायदा को फेल कर देगा। हम टीवी पे जब देखें किसी जर्नलिस्ट का गला काटा जा रहा है, हम ये 21वीं सदी की मानव संस्कृति के सामने कितनी बड़ी घिनौना हरकत हो रही है, कितनी बड़ी चुनौती है, किसी को भी हिला देने वाली चुनौती है। और जब अगर हमारी मानवता जगती नहीं है, राजनीतिक प्लस माइनस के आधार पर टेररिज्म का हिसाब नहीं हो सकता है। टेररिज्म ये मानवता का दुश्मन है और जो भी मानवता में विश्वास करते हैं, उन सबको इकट्ठा होने की आवश्यकता है। पहली बात है कि हर चीज में कंफर्ट नहीं होने की जरूरत होती नहीं है। आप पति पत्नी में भी 100% कंफर्ट नहीं होता है।
We could leave your answer there.
लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी लंबे समय तक एक बाइंडिंग रहता है। कुछ चीजें हैं जो भारत और अमेरिका को जोड़ती हैं।
This will be an important opportunity for them to spend some time talking about the relationship between our two countries. We certainly value the strong relationship that we have with India, and this was a relationship that was strengthened under the leadership of the previous Prime Minister. And the President wants to make sure that we continue that strong relationship between our two countries. We have the kind of strategic partnership that is focused on a wide variety of areas, and whether it's security and counterterrorism, or strengthening the economy, or a host of other regional issues, that there is a broad framework where India and the U.S. work closely together to advance our shared interests, and that underscores the significance of the relationship between the United States and India, which is the world's largest democracy.
Well, let's go across to Rahul Srivastava, who joins us from Washington. Rahul, that dinner is underway at the White House. The summit meeting will be on Tuesday. What are the expectations?
Good morning, Gargi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to United States has shifted a gear from celebrations, a lot of hype and euphoria. Now he gets down to serious business. And India and US have left the days of estrangement behind them. There is talk about deepening of relationships, but there are factors on which the two can come together, but there are issues which can derail. I have Seema Sirohi, a senior foreign policy analyst, Gateway House think tank member. Seema, do you think there are some issues like, say, cleaner environment, energy, infrastructure. Are these issues on which India and America can now, they are sitting together, President Obama and Prime Minister Modi, they can come together?
Yes, there are many issues they can come together on, but I think the big highlight could be the defense. On clean energy, there's an expectation that there will be an agreement. Then the U.S. has its list of complaints that we all know. They're going to bring those up. My hope is that the complainers would not be in the same room as President Obama and Prime Minister Modi, because this is the first chance for the two of them to strike a chord and develop some chemistry. If the two leaders can give the reboot to this relationship, the bureaucracy will follow.
Seema, it's very important for these two to strike a relationship. Remember, President Obama is going to be there for 3 years, while Prime Minister Modi is going to be there for the next 5 years. So whatever they decide today, I think after the few bottlenecks like the Indian ambassador being appointed, Indian council member being frisked, arrested, I think isn't it time for them to strike a more lasting relationship, not decided by what's happening in Pakistan and other issues?
Absolutely, and there is a desire on both sides, but what happens is the minutiae of the relationship, the small complaints in the larger picture get more attention, because there hasn't been the high level attention on the relationship both in India and in the United States that the relationship needs. President Obama has been busy with a myriad crises in the world, from Syria to ISIS to Afghanistan to the Middle East in general. Ukraine, that is a big issue in Washington right now. So there hasn't been high level attention for almost 3 years. So there's some fault that lies with the White House. Then in the last UPA years of governing, they also forgot about the United States and they let these complaints pile up. So now Mr. Modi has to fix this, and it's a big job.
You see, for example, the nuclear deal is stagnating. There's virtually nothing happening on it. The issue of IPR, pharmacy companies are really crying out, while the political pressure on Prime Minister Modi is to keep the drug prices down. All these are, and the WTO, the Trade Facilitation Agreement. How do these leaders go beyond their local compulsions eventually to strike a relationship? Because eventually it's the crisis in their homes which is eventually going to dictate the relationship.
See, we have to remember why the relationship changed from 2005 onwards. It's because the top leadership decided that they wanted a change. The Americans put a bet on India. They said, we want India to rise, and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh at that time agreed, and they worked. And we worked very well for the next few years, and the nuclear deal happened. Now after that, the high level attention went away, and the niggling complaints, the two bureaucracies can fight to death, forever and ever.
But they may not arrive at this. But one question I would like to know, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we'll discuss it quickly, is on fast. He's just sipping warm water for the last few days. President Obama has called him for dinner. So President Obama and First Lady, would they be having a wholesome meal today or just wholesome talks?
Well, I think there will be something on the table, but I'm sure there won't be any non-vegetarian food, because the First Lady herself is very much into healthy living and healthy eating. She is a big supporter of vegetarianism.
And they will keep the sensibilities of Indian Prime Minister in mind.
Absolutely. Those have been conveyed gently a little before this. It is just the coincidence that the visit happened at this time.
Thanks, Seema. So, Gagi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Obama together, wholesome discussion, not so wholesome meal.
All right, Rahul, thanks so much for joining us. Rahul Srivastava there reporting from Washington. Well, news back home now, and seeking immediate bail, jail